Hello, Sunday Sunday friends. Here we are, the pods together. We're missing just one for Diwali, right? Is that why she's
Yes.
not here? So
Yes.
celebrating with her family and friends. Tonight we're going to break down the end of a marriage, processing that, and how we are showing up for each other. The reason that we started this podcast was to show you how beautiful friendship is. And when you don't have a physical person there to lean on, how we can lean on each other through online connection. And that's how this podcast works. That's how these friendships work for us. And so we want to record this so that you can see how we can all navigate and help each other through difficult times. So here we are, unraveling divorce.
Yes. So I am the one who has recently been divorced. And I just want to tell you how this whirlwind romance started. I sent a Facebook request October 31st of 22, I think it was. By November 1st, I was accepted as a friend. I thought it ironic that we weren't friends. We probably were, but I filter through all my friends. If I have over 200 friends, I'm filtering through. If I haven't met you personally, you're not going to be on my friends list. And I thought it was interesting that we weren't friends because we went to high school together. Anyway, he accepted my friend request and we immediately started talking. And we talked every day, 7 weeks. Every single day. I was actually in Mexico celebrating Day of the Dead, and we exchanged phone numbers pretty quickly and found out we had so many things in common. And it was like, gosh, it was like speaking to a mirror, like the way we thought, felt, our connection was just so incredible, and we just connected.
Raw, organic, natural.
We had the same belief systems when it came to relationships. And then we connected 7 weeks later. And I will say within this 7 weeks, I was home and I was doing the dishes and just the words came out of my mouth. And I'm not going to say his name, but I said, I love him. And I was like, where did this voice come from? It was surreal for me. And I felt that was God speaking to me. Now, mind you, I'm just getting close to Christ at this time. I would say bare minimum, getting into trusting the Lord. And, I was coming out of a 9-year relationship. And prior to connecting to this person, I was hoping that me and this other person can reconnect. But I knew instantly, as soon as I put that prayer out there, like, put us back together, I knew instantly, no, that's not where you're supposed to be. But when I started talking to this man who I, just recently got divorced from, it was an instant connect. I knew right away that I was supposed to be with him. So 7 weeks later, we connected, and then we had our second date within the same month. And then by the third date, we went to Venice and got engaged. And by the fourth date, we got married, and we didn't tell anybody. So that was March of 23. Which is very soon to get married. But, it was, again, like I said, it was instant connection for me. And I genuinely still feel that I was called to be his wife. And I bought a house. He picked a house for us. I shouldn't say I bought a house. He picked a home for us. And picking up, I wouldn't say moving, but picking up my life and getting this house was easier for me than putting an outfit together. And you guys have seen my shoes. Like, I have a ton of shoes to pick from. But choosing this path with him was the easiest thing I've ever done in my life. And at the time, I think it was 45? It was the easiest decision. It felt so right. And even to this day, less than 60 days divorced, whatever, it was still the easiest decision I have ever made. And I do not regret a thing. So I just want to put that out there. Some of the things that we didn't talk about, that we should have talked about, was the involvement of the ex and how we would co-parent. I wouldn't say so much co-parent because they're his children. He gets to make the final decision, but as his wife, I should still be involved in some discussions. So we didn't talk about those things. In my previous relationship, my previous relationship didn't have any online social media. How was that going to navigate into the relationship? I wasn't used to that kind of stuff. I don't like social media. In fact, I launched social media for the purpose of this podcast. So how does that equate into a relationship and boundaries? And so things slowly started to deteriorate. And so now here we are, divorced. And it's been difficult for me because I do feel, again, that I was called to be his wife. But now, so I just came off of a Daniel's fast not so long ago, and I did a short version of it, and I got so much clarity on this fast. One of the things that I got clear on is needing to move on. And the second one is I'm not sure I would have gone so far in my walk with Christ if it wasn't for this relationship. So his parents baptized me in Italy in April of 24. And even now, I am not pursuing any relationship. I am staying single. I want to focus on my business and in my walk and my relationship with Christ. Every single day, I try to do a reading, a teaching, and I meet with Savvy Scoop and we talk about the Lord. And we do our own version of a Bible study. I go to church. That is my focus. And I'm not sure I would have gone there if it wasn't for this relationship that I just got out of. Now, I did believe that I was marrying a man of Christ. That has since deviated. The family was a family of Christians and they embraced me and they are an amazing group of people. And I feel so blessed to have been part of this family. But it's hard to walk on this path by yourself. And I have been walking on this path by myself for at least the past 10 months. And I started going to church by myself. The prayers stopped. And I really feel like there was another entity that came into this relationship and it destroyed the relationship. And I was hoping that it was stronger. And unfortunately, it wasn't. And I hear so often, I hear so many times, I hear from people that marriage is hard, marriage is hard, marriage is hard. I don't know if marriage is hard or needs to be really hard. There's people who have been married the same amount of time that we were married that are dealing with other things. I have a family member who they're really struggling in their relationship, but they're still doing it. They're working through it. I was a newlywed. We have another newlywed here. We go through things and we work through things and we communicate through things. And I think what I needed was to be a priority under God. I just realized that we didn't see things as clearly on the same page as I had once thought. But I wouldn't change anything. I wouldn't do it. I would not. I would still have made the same decision. I would have still married him. I would have still picked up my life, and I would still have freely given my love. 100%. Absolutely. Oh, and I would like to say this. Every person on here, even though the scoop that we're missing, tribe member that we're missing, I am so grateful for these group of women because while married, none of these women bashed my husband. I don't need women in my life who are like, oh, this jerk, this mother, this. No, these women didn't do that. These women supported me. They always advocated for my marriage. And in some cases, they actually took his side and said, well, maybe he's thinking this or maybe he's thinking that. And I really appreciate that because I never needed the person who would be like, oh, well, he's being a jerk or he's being this way or he's being that way. That's not what I needed. You guys are such a great group of women. And I feel so blessed to be a part of this. I hope there are other women out there and even men out there that have a great support system like this because we shouldn't be bashing each other's spouses. We don't need that. We need to be uplifting. We need to be advocating for each other's marriages. And even if it doesn't turn out, that's what we're there for. We're supposed to be uplifting each other, not making things worse. Oh, you made a bad decision. I knew you shouldn't have done that. You rushed into it. I had somebody tell me that. No, I didn't. I didn't rush into it. I followed my heart, and I do believe that God called me to be his wife. Have plans changed? Yes. I do not regret it because I have gotten closer to God and I will continue this walk of faith.
I just love your optimism and your love and your hope and even your gratitude throughout this whole process. It has been difficult and it has been painful in some moments, even just walking side by side with you through this. It has been painful. And yes, I have advocated myself, have advocated for the relationship because I really believe I believe that God had called you guys together. But what I also know is that even as you guys have walked through this and you took this covenant on together, everyone has free will to stick around for something. And, you honored the covenant between you and the Lord. It's unfortunate that the other person chose to really kind of like just bow out and not fight a fight. And they chose not to cross over the bridge And I mentioned the bridge in regards to a book that we have been reading together. It's with your favorite passage from the Al-Anon book that we've been reading. And not everybody is going to cross over on the other side of the bridge. We can love them over there. We can shout them over there. We can do all we can do, but it is ultimately left with them if they want to follow along. And so unfortunately, that has been the outcome of that. This person is basically going to have to be left behind. And so, but I'm so grateful that you're encouraged every day and you're still so optimistic and so just beautiful in your spirit. You're still lifting up women. You're still encouraging people daily to run a race that someone chose to step away from with you. So that's what I say.
Well, I just think that there's another path for me. I mean, I'm still young, midlife. I have
Here
so
we
many
are.
plans, I have so many plans, and I don't want to meander in the maze of mediocrity. I want to continue to do things, and I want to grow, and I want to grow my business. And, gosh, all of us throw around so many ideas. And I shared this with him. I said, I want to grow with you. Like, even when we started this podcast, I wanted him to be the editor. I wanted him to be a part of this, and even, a couple of days before the divorce was final, I said, date me, just date me and we can rebuild. But he was building with somebody else. And if he had just told me that, I would have totally stepped back. I wanted to build a future. I wanted to be there for him in sickness. I was the one who was supposed to be there. I was, when he's talking about someone stepping up, I was supposed to be the one. I was the wife, and I wanted to be there, and I wanted to rebuild with him, and the growth of the estates, the properties. I wanted to do all that with him. And I had talked about buying properties in Alabama and building a home in Alabama. I wanted to take him on this journey with me and do it together. I felt we could have been great together, but I felt we only could have been great together if God was at the forefront of our marriage. And I just felt like something else was in his ear. And I recently, while I was on my fast, I was going to YouTube to watch a service from my pastor, and I ended up coming across a pastor in Atlanta. And he was talking about how he went to this hair store, and he ran into a beautiful woman, and he gave her his phone number, and she didn't call till months later. And then they ended up living together, and they had great sex, and they partied and all that stuff. And then she got into a car accident, and then he gave his life to Christ. He married her, and he said, as soon as we got married, chaos ensued. It's like the devil came in. And it was like in his ear, in her ear. And he said, somebody came up to him in the church and said, I had a dream about you and your wife. And there was somebody in your home talking in your ear, talking in her ear. And then you guys looked at each other and started fighting. The devil doesn't like marriages.
No, not at all.
And that's exactly what I picture happened in my household. That is exactly what I picture, because we were going to church. We were praying together. And it stopped. It just stopped. I was going alone. I was praying alone. I was the only one wearing my ring. I was no longer wife in the phone. I was being slowly erased. And that's what I feel happened. And when I heard that story while I was on my fast, I was like, what an eye-opening experience, because I can actually see that happening in my house. I envisioned it. And part of me can't even get mad. We just weren't equipped.
Mm-hmm.
I thought we were. I figured a PK kid would be equipped, and a new person to Christ, that we could come together with our powers combined, that we could be equipped, but we weren't.
We or he?
Yeah.
Because we're a couple, we made a covenant together. Although I will say, I do believe that we mirror our partners. I do believe, had he been a better leader, that we could have pulled through. I shouldn't have been trying to lead the house. I can't tell you how many times I was told, well, you want to wear the pants. I don't. You wear them. I shouldn't have to wear them. You're supposed to lead. You're supposed to lead this relationship. There's a reason why you're the head of the household. But still, we both made a covenant, not once, but twice. Remember, we got married March 17th, 2023, and then again in April Paula, you facilitated April of 24. So we made a promise twice to God. I took it very serious, very, very serious. Marriage is no joke to me. Nobody got my attention. He got platinum status. There was nobody getting inappropriate messages online, inappropriate reactions. Very, very serious. I even had to recently cut off a friend because she was speaking inappropriate about, even though we were already on our way to divorce, but it doesn't matter. He was still my husband. You don't get to disrespect my partner and stay in my life. You don't get to do that. And it's just, so tell me why you asked that, Paula.
Because you're a queen.
I am.
And, we've had these conversations amongst our group of friends offline. And even before before we pushed record, that we're not going to bash him. And I'm not going to bash him, but he is not, in my eyes and in my mind, he is not your king. And everything that you have shared with us tonight, I think just reinforces that. So when you talk about, your commitment to this relationship, when you talk about keeping a higher power at the forefront of your marriage, asking him to step up and lead the household and be the husband and be the man that leads this relationship with Christ at your side, he didn't have the cojones to do that. I don't know if that's the right way to say it,
No.
but that's the kind of king that you deserve. And he wasn't it for you. And who knows
No.
if you go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
And I don't know if more time prior to marriage would have revealed that to you. Maybe not. We definitely learn a lot about our partners the more time we spend together, especially as we move in and build a life together. Of course, you're going to see things that you just can't see during a courtship, during a dating, the dating rituals. But who's to say? Who's to say if even had you dated for a year, if you would have seen that side to your partner? And again, we're not going to bash him. I do think that he's got wonderful characteristics, but they're not on your level. As you said, you grew tremendously in this relationship.
Absolutely.
And maybe that's why you were brought into this relationship, was for your growth, your involvement, your journey, your mission. And that was his role. That was his mission. You and I had a little conversation about, mission. And maybe that was the mission that he had in your life, was to open up this doorway for you to grow and become stronger and, foster and deepen your relationship with your higher power. And he did that. And now it's time for him to step aside.
Yes, I definitely agree. Now in even knowing where the position stands in my belief system, God, husband and wife, and if I reflect back and I look at, all the posts and stuff, I was never in any of the posts with the kids celebrations and stuff because I wasn't allowed to go to any of the kids celebrations because apparently the ex didn't want me there. But now I'm not even sure if that was the case. There were things happening on the sidelines and I require to be a priority. And there's nothing wrong with that. Under God, I come next. And that's just where my husband would be too. And so I did learn a lot on this in this situation. But the thing is, I don't ask for nothing that I can't give back in return. I give the same respect in return. You get the same attention in return. And, the old saying, shoe on the other foot. I try to think that way. Treat people how you want to be treated, kind of thing. Savvy.
I was just thinking you were saying we, and I was choking over here on that word we. I'm sorry.
You weren't the only one, apparently.
Well, because then you followed up with I, and I was like, yeah, see, that's that crossing the bridge by yourself, You had to leave that, And it wasn't a we, because you got to a place where God was your all. God was your focus. God was your provider. God was your insight. God was your
Foundation.
go-to. God was your foundation. Like all of that was a fundamental thought in your walk with this covenant. And I know this personally because we talk every day. We pray and read the word and read this, and it's on the inside of us, And so when you said we, I was just like, no, because it's not a we. Because unfortunately, he didn't want to finish this right. He didn't want to cross. And that's where it was an I, that I need to live. I need to still do what God has called me to do. I still need to seek his face, even though, and I still have something in the end to come for me. So I just wanted to say that.
And you had mentioned something about a trophy before. I have boundaries. And I think that's something I learned in my relationship prior to this one. I learned so much in that relationship. He taught me how to love myself. And yes, I give credit to a man to teach me how to love myself. He helped me love me. He helped me love my body. And I have never been a person who was just, just love myself and showed me how really to be treated. So moving into this recent relationship, I had boundaries. I set them and I said, this is what I need, this, and that. And when I said I need this, and that, I wish I hadn't said, or we're going to get a divorce, whatever. I wish I had said, I need this, and that. If that can't happen, let's talk about, how we can go about making this happen. Boundaries are important. And I think that goes for any relationship. I'm working on that with my children, my adult children. You need to have boundaries in any relationship you have, even with work. There's people that I work with and I'm like, whoa, we can't talk about that, friend. We're colleagues, or whatever the case may be. We need to have boundaries. And there were certain boundaries in this relationship that I'm sorry. This doesn't fly with me. You're going to have to go be with somebody who says this is okay or doesn't check or is just like, do you, boo, while you're married to me. That's not what I need transparency in my marriage. I do. And some people
Boundaries were
might
crossed
not,
and there
but
was
I
no
do.
coming back.
It's a silent trophy. You is not a silent trophy.
Mm-mm.
That's what that word is, that phrase.
So Shannon, I
And
just
that's
want
never
to
what
say,
you could be.
I'm sorry, Savvy. And I agree.
Oh no, I was just referencing what she said, a trophy. It's a silent
Yeah.
trophy, is what I said that she would never be. And
Yep.
so
I agree.
Did you say you're angry, Erin?
No.
Or
I
did
said
you say I agree?
No, I agree with that. Shannon, I want to tell you, I think it is remarkable where you're at this point in time, given the timeline of events right now. And you are giving a lot of grace and been willing to look in the mirror and take a look at where your contributions to some of the challenges that happened between you happened, and really evaluated and worked to have conversation about that along the way. And I think that takes a lot of courage. And the heart of the word courage, listening to Brene Brown, is the root word is cur in Latin, and it means heart. And to operate with your heart takes a lot of vulnerability. I have seen you do that when it was not easy through this situation. We've had a lot of conversations and a lot of dialogue about, what do you want? What do you want to do? You're hearing a lot of different opinions and, but what is it that you want? And that's how I've always responded to you is, I want what you want. And if you want to try and have conversation about what is wrong right now and try to bridge the gap between you right now, then do that. Try. And you did. And you put yourself out there and you got hurt pretty bad. And I think I saw you be very courageous and lead with your heart. And in a marriage, it takes two people to do that, to be brave. And as we bring all of our stuff to the table in our most intimate relationship that we have, other than our relationship with God. And we bring all our stuff to the table there, all of it, all of our beauty and all of our ugly too, the not so desirable parts that we have of ourselves. And it takes a lot of courage to work through some of that stuff with another person. And I think in our society, a lot of the things that we've talked about, it's easy for people just to bow out when that gets hard, and to how serious the commitment is that you made, and to look at it like, well, you know what, this person crossed my boundaries and I'm done, or I'm not willing to open up my heart and I can bow out because the law says I can do that. And there's a lot of reinforcement in our society and our culture to do that without making the efforts to really try and make it work, and to really evaluate and examine yourself on what you want and who you want to be. And in relationships, man, there's such an evolution too. I mean, you grow and change over time, and hopefully you're doing that together, and I just want to commend you because I saw you show up and do that over and over and over again. I think it's really brave.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I was very, very vulnerable. Even on the day that we were waiting for the movers to come and get his things. I was like, please, we can fix this. Even when was already out of the house. When we started dating, he wrote me this little thing and it was like, do you like me? Yes or no? And a little checkbox, and I said yes. And 3 days before our divorce was supposed to be final, I said, will you date me? Yes or no? And he didn't respond. And so I called him. It was a difficult conversation. I was vulnerable to the very, very end because I made a commitment, even though I knew things were happening on the sideline, because a woman knows, okay? We call it our intuition, our gut, Holy Spirit, whatever you want to call it. I already knew things were going down. I knew. You guys know I knew. I was telling you things. I was still trying to save my marriage because I had made a commitment. I didn't care about a piece of paper. I don't care about the law. I made a commitment to my higher power and to him, to myself. And so I had sent that, take a little picture, will you date me? And of course, that conversation didn't go well. And obviously, didn't date, whatever. I am really proud of myself for how vulnerable I was the entire time, even though I feel like I was talked about, I was probably slandered, but I don't care. I would do it again because I can walk away saying, I did everything that I could. And if I don't, I will never be able to say, what if? I am not a person who likes to live in what ifs. If only, I don't want to live in the if onlys. And my husband is out there somewhere and God will bring us together when it's time. But right now, this has been a great experience. I'm grateful for everything. And like I said, I would do it again. And I'm really glad that I was vulnerable. And even though that vulnerability was trampled upon, I'm still an advocate for leaps of faith. I had faith the whole time. The whole time. Matter of fact, I'm going to get the word faith tattooed on me. I'm not sure where. I had my dad write it because my dad has beautiful handwriting, and I'm going to get the word faith tattooed on me.
But
You have to have faith. So maybe I'll get the word faith that looks like it's taking a leap.
So what's next, Shannon?
I don't know. I'm just going to continue with my walk, continue to learn. I am not dating. I think it's ludicrous to be dating right when you come out of a divorce. Had I known I should have, I was looking at some of the text messages and he wasn't even divorced for a year before we got married. Like, why did you marry somebody who wasn't even divorced for that long? But I think it's insane to just jump into another relationship. I think I'm in a relationship with Savvy Scoop, honestly. I'm surprised her husband isn't like, are you guys still on the phone? So we're just going to nurture that relationship.
That's what friends are for.
That's what friends are for.
I know, right?
Yeah.
You can count on me. That's what it is.
Count on me
Count
through the thick
on.
and
Yes. See, I didn't need to look it up. I didn't need to look it up.
I was
just
ready.
needed
I was
to
about to. I was
yeah,
gonna,
we didn't
take
need
on
to
the
look
role
it
of
up.
fact checker. I was
Count
gonna do it,
on
but I didn't
me.
want to.
Count on Me. That's the song by Whitney Houston and CeCe Winans. It's a
I
beautiful
totally
How
song.
want to
beautiful.
play one of those game shows where you have to name that tune. I will win.
Oh my God.
We should
I
do that
would
next
win.
time we're together.
You will.
Hands
Okay,
down.
Karen, you
win.
and I are on a team together, okay?
Yeah.
We'll be on a team together and I make sure I'll provide the party favors.
Sounds good.
We need to do
I'll
karaoke
pass.
style though, because I
hate
could start some karaoke.
I want to make a dance video. I think the
Yeah.
six of us need to make a dance
You would
video.
say, oh no,
Well,
not me.
Carolina, you and I have already starred in a dance video.
Yes, we have.
So, we just need to add the rest of the group into our mix.
Yeah, we just need a little
Hold
backup
on. Is a
choreography.
poll in this somewhere? Because I'm doing
A
pole
poll?
dancing.
Wow.
Yeah, because I'm doing pole
no
dancing.
offense,
now.
Get on the
I'm not
pole.
getting on a pole. Nope.
No.
My arms
Scoopalicious
can't
can.
take that
pole.
right. Look, girl, my arms cannot take that right now.
We could do some
No.
ribbons.
Do you guys know the mermaid
No.
dance?
No.
Oh,
Anybody?
absolutely.
Carolina does.
Absolutely.
Come on, the mermaid dance, Rebel Wilson.
No.
Don't make me get on the floor and do it.
Do it.
Oh, Wilson. Yes. I know what you're talking about.
She's laying on the ground. What movie was that?
Pitch Perfect.
Pitch Perfect.
I love that movie.
I love that movie.
That's
They were
my
all good
daughter's
movies.
favorite movie.
Okay. Well,
But I love that. I love what you said, Shannon, that my relationship right now is with Savvy. And I love that, Savvy, your husband knows. Like, these are moments of friendship. These are moments that are pure and that are needed.
Yes.
And this is needed. This circle is needed. This safe place, this safe space to just kind of feel and express and just allow these moments to happen, because I feel like healing has happened for you, Shannon, with this support system, but also with you processing things on your own. You've been alone. You've been alone, alone, alone in that
Physically
house,
alone,
physically
physically alone.
alone. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I've only been able to connect with us by
Here.
talking or texting on the phone. I mean, you spent a couple weekends here, but how much did we actually get together? How much have we actually gotten to like hold each other, hold hands, hug, be together, go to dinner together? Like you have been alone. And I think it's really important that we remember like why we're doing this.
Yeah.
You know, there is a lot of women that have
No one.
troublesome marriages, and there are a lot of women that are fighting, and they're fighting hard for their marriages. And I know that even after you guys signed papers, you were like, I haven't lost hope. I haven't lost hope. I feel like there is something here still. And the fact that you have found clarity even after feeling so hopeful that there was an opportunity or a possibility to reconnect. Like you're at peace now. And that's beautiful. And just like Erin said, that's so courageous. But I just think it's really important that we speak to women out there and say, you know what, you don't have to be alone through this. Reach out to someone, reach out to anyone, reach out to your parents, reach out to a friend.
And it's okay to be
It's so
vulnerable
important.
because what do you have to lose? The answer is always no if you don't ask. It's always no if you don't ask. And you know, I missed the best advice episode because I was very sick. And that would have been one of the best advice that I would had give. My dad told me that the answer is always no if you don't ask, whatever the question may be. Will you date me? You don't ask, it's going to be no. Was it no? Sure, but you know what? I asked.
Mm-hmm.
You
The
don't
answer
have
is
to
always no if you
wonder.
don't ask. You don't have to wonder. I wish I had asked that question. If only if I had asked the question, would things have been different? Be vulnerable. Like I'm at this point in my life. Well, I don't have time. I don't want to mess around with the what ifs. I'm going to ask you. I'm going to ask you. I'm going to be vulnerable. And no man is going to strip that from me. No man is going to strip the possibility of me finding love. I'm not so heartbroken that I'm not going to invite another person into my heart. I have a lot of love to give. And I'm excited to give this love to somebody else who's deserving of it. And I'm open to that because there is somebody out there deserving of a committed woman under God who's not going to give attention to anybody else. I am that woman. And there's somebody out there who wants this woman, who wants a woman like me. And this relationship has not broken me. And somebody said one time, I said, oh, I would be devastated. And then I thought, devastated? Me? Nah, I'm not devastated. I'm hurt. I'm hurt, but I'm not devastated. I'm disappointed. I'm not devastated.
I think part of your courage, Shannon, is knowing when to reach out, and you do. We're talking about
Mm-hmm.
this, how you do. And I think that is so brave. And it also helps others be vulnerable with you. When you're calling and saying, I am struggling, and I could say, I freaking am too. And here's what's going on. We can support each other, and you just never know. And I think so many people are afraid to make those phone calls or to just show
Mm-hmm.
up and say, I
Absolutely.
am really struggling because we have this image that we need to uphold, or these perceptions, so we don't want people to think certain ways about us when we're falling apart. And that's when you need to reach out the most. And I'm so like in awe of how well you do that. You call and you reach out to each and every person in our tribe, and I'm sure even family, and your extended family. And I think that's beautiful. The truth is
Mm-hmm.
that here's another one of my mom's sayings, but your your
I love that.
ability to control ends here. And you
Hmm.
recognize that. You put yourself out there and communicated what your desires are, and then had to surrender to what the response was and decide what to do with yourself from there. But at least you put it out there. And I think it's
Yeah.
beautiful, even though you got hurt, and what you're doing with that right now, and you never know. It's easy to bash someone, and in a group of friends and say, yeah, and jump on that bandwagon and say, all kinds of awful things about that person when one of your friends breaks up. But
But it
he's
doesn't
also,
help. It
he's
doesn't
all,
make anything better.
yeah, it doesn't help. It doesn't help. It probably helps temporarily in the moment, to validate
Mm-hmm.
the anger and the frustration, and we're entitled to feel that way too, and to feel those feelings. But I also think that there are maybe reasons why he's going through this too, and things that he might need to be looking at. But it doesn't mean that it was all bad and all wrong. And I think it's beautiful that you followed your heart and you were vulnerable.
And I do want to just add on to that and just say, I want to be 100% transparent. I still cry.
Yeah.
You guys still get those phone calls, and we are 60 days in. I'm still hurting. I'm still disappointed, even with the acknowledgement of knowing that's not my path. Even though he has moved on, I have also moved on, but that doesn't mean that moving on doesn't involve hurt. So, yes, I'm strong, but we can be strong and still cry. You can be strong and still have tears and have days that you just need to let it go. And so, for me, it comes and goes, especially being in the house that he picked for us. I love my home, and it is going on the market. I have to let it go. And it's just part of the healing process. But I don't want to come off across like, oh, I'm all perfect and healed and stuff. I'm not. I'm healing. I'm in the process of. But I will get there, and I'm excited for the next chapter. But I'm not in a rush to get there because I need to go through this, because the next person needs to have the whole healed version of Shannon. So I just want to be 100% honest about where I'm at. I don't want people to be like, oh, she's got it all figured out. No, I don't.
I love that. That's still that vulnerability there of sharing yourself and letting people know that there's hurt and there's some sadness there but that doesn't end me right now. That doesn't stop me. I still go on. There's still something to live for. There's still something to strive for. There's still life after this. And that's so important. And I love that about you, because every day our phone calls are that. They are really life after. This is life after. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And yes, sometimes it's sad and it's hard to see the tears. But,
Here we are.
here we are.
Here we are. Here we are holding each other up,
Well,
reminding
thank you,
you that you're valuable.
and
You are
I'm
valuable.
very grateful to all of you, and thank you all for listening to my story and allowing me the platform to speak. And I really do appreciate it. So thank you, tribe.
We love you.
And also, just to say, I mean, I know we always use the word tribe, but just tonight I was thinking, gosh, here we are in a place of comfort, in a place of safety. And I almost feel like we're more of a nest. I feel like we're a nest. We come here to the safe place, to the safe space where even though we can't reach out and like touch each other and hold hands or hug, we know that we have this safe place, a safe nest where we can fly in and fly out of, and we can bring people in, and it's just growing, and it's here, and it's always here, and there's always love and there's always safety. So thank you all for joining us on this Sunday. Thank you for listening. Thanks for being in our nest. And I love you, Shannon. I love you, girls. God bless you.
Love y'all.
Happy Sunday,
Happy Sunday.
Sunday.
Happy Sunday, Sunday, y'all.